I'm striving to get rich. That's why I always went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
Yo, what's up? Well, welcome back to the channel. APWSPORTS signing in, and welcome back to another Chicago Bears preview. We are in week 3 of the NFL season, and the Bears are in a matchup of 1-1 football teams, and Justin Fields is making his first career start as the Bears travel on the road to take on the Cleveland Browns. But before I get into anything about this game, anything about this matchup, I do these videos, preview videos, as well as reaction videos to the games on this channel and different NFL stories that happen throughout the season. So if you like those type of videos, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you will not miss a single video. And also make sure you guys leave a like on this video. That does help this channel to grow a ton. But let's get into this week 3 game. Without further ado, stab into it. Now, as we all know, coming into this game, it is Justin Fields' first career start in the NFL, and he is going up against the Cleveland Browns defense. That is absolutely a very good defense, with Myles, Garrett, and Jadeveon Clowney coming off the edges, Malik Jackson helping presence in that middle, Taki at the linebacker position, and Denzel Ward at corner. This Browns defense is a very, very solid defense. And you're going up against the Bears offensive line, let's face it, that's had their struggles over the past 2 games. Jason Peters has had some injury problems. Ifedius has some struggles. Daniels, Whitehair, and Mustapher has a little bit of a struggles as well. Mainly, I believe in the pass protecting game more than they do in the run game, because the Bears running game has been absolutely solid the first 2 weeks of the season. It is going to be interesting for this Bears offense to see if Matt Nagy adjusts his play calling for Justin Fields. Now, we all know Justin Fields is a 100% different quarterback than it is Andy Dalton. Of course, Andy Dalton makes better reads because he has more experience. As we all know, Justin Fields is more athletic. He's more dynamic. He has a different type of skill set than Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is more of a pocket presence. Justin Fields is more of a guy who can move around and make things happen and make some throws on a run. So it's going to be interesting to see if Matt Nagy can scheme an offense that fits Justin Fields' skill set versus staying in his own set offense and being stubborn, as we all know Matt Nagy to be. I believe if Matt Nagy makes those adjustments to Justin Fields' skill set and to where his development sits right now as we go into week 3 of this season, and we're going up against a very good Cleveland Browns defense, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out if Justin Fields is actually being utilized to his full potential, or if he's being held back by Matt Nagy in his scheme. Now, of course, the Bears have to be physical up front. They have to be physical up front in the running game, as well as getting better pass protection, especially with Justin Fields in the lineup. A guy who I've always said he does have a tendency to sit in the pocket, but the Bears do have the weapons for him to spread the ball to. Allen Robinson, I believe, should be had a better role in his offense. The first 2 games, it didn't really look like he had the best role in his offense, even though he dropped the touchdown pass last week and he did catch a touchdown. I believe they're going to utilize him more. In the tight end position with Cole Kmet and Jimmy Graham, I believe has to have more usage in order for this offense to be a success. Now, we know Darnell Mooney could do things with his speed as well as Marquise Goodwin. It's interesting to see if they play Damiere Byrd a little bit more than he has the first 2 weeks to utilize his speed in this offense as well. Damian Williams and as well as David Montgomery, I believe, have to play significant roles in the run game. Not only just running the football, but with the RPOs with Justin Fields, the rollouts, the play action game, and the bootleg. If Matt Nagy chooses to incorporate those things in this offense, the Bears offense, I believe, has more of a chance to be successful this week if those things are incorporated and you're utilizing Justin Fields' full skill set, his mobility, his playmaking ability, and as well as his ability to attack deep downfield. Now, Justin Fields really throws a very good deep ball, and it's going to be interesting if Matt Nagy can push the ball down the field schematically. Now, we all know the Bears offense has been short, safe route, run the football, but I believe with a Justin Fields dynamic added to this offense, you're going to have to incorporate some RPO. You're going to have to incorporate more of the play action game, and you're going to have to incorporate more of those read option type of running plays to help Justin Fields not only catch some rhythm, but to help your offense succeed more and be more dynamic than we've seen in the first 2 games. Because outside of that first touchdown draft against Cincinnati, the Bears offense tended to struggle to move the football. Even after Andy Dalton's injury and incorporating Justin Fields in the lineup, the Bears offense still has some struggles with Cincinnati last week. So it's going to be interesting to see if Nagy can, number one, have a game plan to kind of offset the pass rush of Garrett and Clowney, who are 2 very good pass rushers, and Myles Garrett has Defensive Player of the Year potential, especially with the Fatty and Peters up front, who have been inconsistent. I think you're going to have to incorporate a game plan that can kind of not have them on their toes and kind of keep them on their heels so they won't be able to tee off and pass rush Justin Fields. You're going to have to incorporate more of a running game. I think you want to have incorporate more RPOs and things like that to help offset those 2. You're going to have to take a little bit of the top off the defense, especially with Justin Fields' ability to throw the ball deep. And you have the speed in Goodwin, you have the speed in Mooney, you have the speed in Bird to be able to take the top off the defense. So if those things happen with this Bears offense, I think you could be very successful against the pass rush of the Cleveland Browns and be able to attack those safeties deep. The Bears defensively are coming off their best game in quite a while, creating 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions in a row, and a forced fumble by Eddie Jackson. And if that game against Cincinnati has any inkling into what this Bears defense can be, it is going to be a very stout defense the rest of this season. But coming into this game, we have Tashaun Gipson, who is listed as doubtful as I record this video, and Eddie Goldman is going to be a game time decision as I record this video. But we do have good news on Eddie Goldman. He's practiced for 2 days in a row. That's the first time he's done that all season. So there is a good sign that Eddie Goldman can play, but Tashaun Gipson being lost can be a bit of a hurt to a Bear secondary that has already had some struggles going into this game, with Duke Shelley, I believe, playing a really bad game last week. Jalen Johnson is emerging into a star. The Bears pass rush was able to get home. But you're going up against the Cleveland Browns team, who looks like Odell Beckham Jr. may be returning back off of the knee injury. You do have, I believe, one of the best offensive lines in football in Cleveland. So it is going to be really difficult for the Bears to not only stop the run game, but to get after Baker Mayfield, especially when you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, who I believe is the best running back duo that we have in football, and the Cleveland Browns offense, who loves to run play action off of that very successful running game. That Cleveland Browns offense, when it's going and when it's clicking on all cylinders and it's running the football very effectively with Hunt and Chubb, is a very difficult offense to stop. And the key for this Bears defense is be physical. This Bears front 7 is going to have to be physical up front. They're going to have to find a way to win the line of scrimmage, especially when you have that offensive line in Cleveland, especially when you have the Browns who love to run the football. So you have to establish the line of scrimmage in order to offset what Cleveland loves to do offensively. So I believe that this Bears defense still has to create turnovers to help out a guy like Justin Fields. This Bears defense still has to be very physical up front, have they been the past 2 weeks against the run, because the Bears defensively against the run have been very good so far this season. The question is, can the secondary hold up and be consistent? Now, last week, for the most part, the Bears secondary was able to hold up. The Bears secondary is able to play a little bit better outside of Duke Shelley, Kildare. He made a couple of plays. Jalen Johnson is really emerging into that shutdown corner that the Bears, I believe, need in Sean Desai's defensive scheme. The secondary is definitely going to have to play better, especially with the way that the Cleveland Browns love to attack in a play action with Donovan Peoples-Jones, you're probably going to get Odell Beckham back now. Jarvis Landry is on IR, so he will not be available in this game. Austin Hooper is a really good tight end, and they like to utilize him as well as David Njoku in this offense. So the key for the Bears defensively, I believe that they have to, and I mean they have to be physical up front to slow down the Cleveland Browns run game, because that is the biggest staple in the Cleveland Browns offense. And I believe that the dynamic of the running game in that Browns offense sets up everything that they like to do as far as the passing game goes. You slow down the run game and you make the Browns one-dimensional, and you make Baker Mayfield forced to throw the ball more than what they would like to do. That is going to be a big key from a Bears win into a Bears loss. And the presence of Eddie Goldman and Akeem Hicks up front have to be stout, especially if Eddie Goldman is able to go. Now, Bilal Nichols, I've liked the things that he's done throughout the course of his Bears career, and he had a solid game last week. So he's going to be a big key, especially with the defensive line depth of the Chicago Bears. Of course, Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack had to get after the quarterback. Roquan Smith, I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do. That man is an absolute stud. So I'm not worried about Roquan. He is a stud. Ogletree is going to be a key as well as that front four, and especially the interior of the Bears defense. So the key for the Bears defensively, be physical up front, slow down the running game, and I believe the corners, they have to hold their own. They are going to have to hold their own, especially with the way the Cleveland Browns offense likes to push the ball when they are throwing, and as well as they have to be physical with these Browns receivers, because they are solid blocking receivers, especially with the run game that the Browns have. 3 keys to a Bears victory. 1, be physical up front on both fronts. The offensive line and the defensive line of the Bears both have to be physical up front. They have to be physical up front in the running game against this Cleveland Browns defense in order to offset the pass rush, and they have to be physical up front of the defensive line to help slow down the running game of the Cleveland Browns offense. Number 2, Matt Nagy has to adjust his playbook for Justin Fields. He cannot sit Justin Fields in his same playbook. He has to make adjustments for Justin Fields' skill set and the dynamic that Justin Fields can bring to this offense. That is key, big key. I think it's the biggest key for the Bears to win this football game. Key number 3, you have to incorporate the tight ends more in this offense with Justin Fields. Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet, maybe if you throw in Jesse James, the Bears tight ends have to be more effective and be a bigger part of this offense than they have been the first 2 games to pull out a victory in Cleveland. But with all that said, my pick for this game this week will be the Cleveland Browns. I know it's going to be weird for me going against the Bears, but I just do not believe that Matt Nagy will do enough adjustments in his offense for Justin Fields. Now, we know Justin Fields brings a different dynamic. We all understand that. But I just don't believe, and I have to see it to believe it, for the Bears to incorporate more dynamic plays and be a bit more explosive offensively, especially with the things that Justin Fields can do. I do believe that the Bears defensively can be physical up front. I do believe that the Bears defensively can make some plays. I am just not a believer in Matt Nagy's scheme, and I am not a believer for him to not be stubborn and adjust his play calling for Justin Fields. And I don't think the Bears offense will be as effective schematically as they should be in a contest like this. And that is why I'm going to roll with the Cleveland Browns to beat the Bears in this ball game. And I think a score in this game will be 20-17. I think the Browns will do just enough offensively to take home a W in this contest. But that is all I have for you guys today. Hey, if you guys agree or you disagree with me picking Cleveland, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to see what you guys think of Justin Fields making his first career start and of the Bears' chances to win this game overall. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. But as always, leave a like on this video, as that does help the channel to grow. And I will be doing preview videos like this, reaction videos to the games, and the other storylines throughout the NFL on this channel. So go ahead, click subscribe, and click the notification bell so you will not miss a single video. But I am APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe out there. Have a great and excellent day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bear down. Peace.